Welcome to my channel. And if you've recently moved to the United States, I just want to say welcome. I know it's an incredible journey, but let's be real, figuring out the U.S. financial system can be a huge challenge. That's why today we're going to break down the biggest credit score mistakes new immigrants make, and I'll show you exactly how to avoid them so you can build a really strong financial future. Let's get right into it.
So why is this so important? Well, get this. The latest data for 2025 shows that newcomers often face 25 to 35% lower approval odds for things like loans and credit cards. And look, this has nothing to do with your income or how smart you are. It's just because you don't have a U.S. credit history. Yet, mastering the system is your key to getting an apartment, buying a car, and getting much lower interest rates on pretty much everything. Honestly, this isn't just about saving money. It's about building your new life with confidence. Getting this right from the very beginning puts you on a totally different path. So stick with me through this full guide because I've also got an awesome bonus hack for you at the end that you are not going to want to miss.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with those first crucial steps. We'll talk about the most common traps. We'll uncover some powerful tools you probably don't know about, and we'll finish with a simple plan to get you on the fast track. Think of this as your personal guide to conquering the U.S. credit system.
All right, let's dive into the single biggest mistake I see, and that's waiting way too long to start building credit. And look, I get it. It's completely understandable. When you first get here, you're juggling a million things, finding a place to live, starting a job. Credit just feels like a problem for later.
The thought process is usually, I'll figure out my finances once I'm settled. You have so many other priorities, and let's face it, the credit system here is just different from most other countries. So it's really easy to just push it to the side. But that delay, it comes at a pretty big cost.
And this timeline, it shows you exactly what that cost is. If you start building credit right away, you could have a good score in as little as 6 months. But if you wait even just 6 months to start, you could be a year or more behind, just playing catch-up. In the U.S. credit system, time is absolutely your most powerful friend. So here's your first action step. You need to act immediately. As soon as you have your social security number or an I-10, go open a secured credit card. These cards are literally designed for people who are new to credit. You make a small deposit, and that deposit becomes your credit limit. Use it for one small recurring bill, like Netflix or Spotify, and set up autopay to pay the full balance every single month. This one move immediately kicks off your positive credit history.
Okay, so that leads us straight to mistake number 2. And this one usually happens when people are excited to start. In all that excitement, it's really tempting to just apply for every credit card offer you see in the mail. It feels like you're doing something, but this is actually one of the fastest ways to hurt your brand new credit profile.
And here's why. Every time you officially apply for a credit card or a loan, the bank does what's called a hard inquiry on your credit report. Now, there's also something called a soft inquiry, which is what happens when you check your own credit or use a pre-qualification tool. Soft inquiries do absolutely nothing to your score, but a hard inquiry, that can knock your score down by a few points. 1 or 2 isn't a big deal, but a bunch of them in a short time, it makes you look desperate for money, and that is a huge red flag for lenders.
This slide shows you the two paths perfectly. Instead of going on this crazy application spree, you want to be strategic. Most of the big banks have pre-qualification tools on their websites. These tools let you check your approval odds with a soft inquiry, which, remember, does not hurt your score. Start with one card, build up 6 months of good history, and then you can think about another one. By the way, if this tip just saved you from making a big mistake, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps more people find this guide. Once you have that first card approved and in your wallet, you've won a major battle. But now, the real work starts. It's not just about having credit, it's about managing it the right way, month after month.
So now that you have your card, let's talk about how you use it, which brings me to mistake number 3, high credit utilization. This is without a doubt one of the most important things that affects your score every single month, and it's a trap so many people fall into without even knowing it.
Credit utilization is just a fancy term for the percentage of your available credit that you're using. You know, in a lot of countries, it's totally normal to just pay the minimum amount due on your credit card bill. But in the U.S. system, even though paying the minimum keeps your account from being late, carrying a high balance tells lenders that you might be in some financial trouble.
Just look at this chart. This is exactly how lenders see it. The general rule is to keep your balance below 30% of your credit limit. But if you want to build your score fast, the pro tip is to stay in that green safe zone, under 10%.
So, for example, if your secured card has a $300 limit, you want your statement balance to be no more than $30. And you always pay that full statement balance, not just the minimum. All right, next up is a mistake not of doing something wrong, but of not doing something right. And that is ignoring some super powerful credit building tools that exist outside of just credit cards and loans. For someone starting from scratch, these can be an absolute game changer.
I mean, think about this for a second. Your biggest monthly bill is probably your rent, right? You pay it on time every single month. You're proving you're financially responsible. But by default, all of that positive payment history is completely invisible to the credit bureaus. It's just a huge missed opportunity.
But here's the good news. In 2025, there are services that actually fix this. Experian Boost, for example, can connect your on-time utility and even cell phone payments to your credit file. Rent reporting services like SSU or Rental Karma can add your rent payments to your report. And this one is huge. If you had good credit back in your home country, a service called Nova Credit can actually translate that history for U.S. lenders. These tools are, no joke, game changers. Using these services means you're finally getting credit for the good financial habits you already have. You're not spending any extra money, you're just making sure your good behavior is getting noticed. If you know another immigrant who needs to hear this, please consider sharing this explainer with them. Now let's move from the tools that can help you to the mistakes that can silently hurt you.
Okay, now let's talk about the silent score killers. These are the sneaky mistakes that can quietly undo all your hard work, just because you don't know the unwritten rules of the U.S. credit game yet.
So to beat these silent killers, you gotta know what matters most. This chart shows that your payment history and your credit utilization together make up a massive 65% of your FICO score. That's it. That's where you need to put all your focus, paying every single bill on time and keeping those balances super low. The next two mistakes I'm going to talk about hit these two areas directly.
And that leads us right into our next big mistake, not checking your own credit report. Look, in 2025, with identity theft and really smart AI-driven fraud on the rise, errors are way more common than you think. A single wrong late payment that's not even your fault, or a fraudulent account opened in your name can absolutely destroy your score overnight. You are legally entitled to a free report from all 3 credit bureaus every single week. Make it a habit to check them every month for anything that looks weird.
And the final silent killer is perfectly captured by this quote from someone online. Closing your oldest credit card. Once you get a better unsecured card, it is so tempting to just close that first beginner card. Do not do it. Remember that FICO chart? 15% of your score is the length of your credit history. When you close your oldest account, you instantly shorten that history and your score can drop like a rock. Just keep it open, maybe put that Netflix subscription on it, and let it age like a fine wine.
Okay, we have covered all the biggest mistakes to avoid. So now, just like I promised, here is your bonus hack. We're going to combine all the best advice we just talked about into one simple, powerful blueprint to fast-track your credit journey in 2025. Here it is, your 30-day blueprint to a great credit score. It's not complicated at all. Step 1, get that secured card right away. Step 2, add your existing bills using services like Experian, Boost, and a rent reporter. Step 3, keep that balance under the magic 10% number. And Step 4, pay your bill in full and on time, every single time. Seriously, following these 4 steps can take you from no score to a good score in just a couple of months. The biggest takeaway here is this. The U.S. credit system has its own rules, but they are totally learnable. Yes, it can feel a little intimidating at first, but you absolutely have the power to master it. By avoiding these common mistakes and just being proactive from day one, you're not just building a score, you're building the foundation for your financial freedom in your new home. If this guide was helpful and you learned something new today, please subscribe and hit that little notification bell. That way you'll be the first to know when we release our next explainer to help you on your journey. And finally, I really want to hear from you. In the comments below, let me know what country you moved from and what your biggest challenge has been with building credit here in the US. I'll be reading through and replying to as many questions as I can. Thank you so much for watching and welcome to your new financial beginning.